All right, Joe from FallenOne Gaming. We got the unstoppable Drew Stone in the house. My body is ready. So, that being said, Joe, give me that countdown.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, shit!
Get over here! Hi, I'm martial art master Daniel Pacino. You know me as the original Johnny Cage, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Reptile, and Smoke. You are tuning in to NerdCage Live on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Don't miss an episode or you'll get caged. So let's finish him.
NerdCageLIVE and gaming are a perfect match.
Shoot the J, Joe.
Okay.
Shoot it!
All right.
Over on NerdCageLIve on Twitch, Jay and Joe go live.
Call me Bazooka Joe.
It's all about you.
Kaboom!
Playing both old school and new school games every Tuesday night. Ooh, what a sight!
Jay, stop looking at her face and run.
But she's so beautiful.
So be sure to follow NerdCageLIve on Twitch.
Run for your life, Joe. Run for your life, Joe.
Running.
Run faster. Oh no, Joe. The galaxy's doomed because of you.
To scratch your gaming itch.
Oh, nice kick, Joe.
Thank you.
About
Yo, that's diabolical.
humanity.
Wait. Yo!
That's twitch.tv/NerdCageLIve.
This is Anthony Marquez, better known as Kung Lao for Mortal Kombat. Make sure to like and subscribe to NerdCage Live. Be there.
This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles film.
This is not the history of New York hardcore.
This film details the New York hardcore scene for what it was.
What it is.
And what it will forever be.
One of the most vital and influential music scenes to ever exist.
Its impact is felt worldwide, and its legacy continues on.
Long after many other cities' hardcore scenes have died off.
New York hardcore is never ending. Forever and always. New York hardcore will never die. Yo, New York hardcore will never die. New York hardcore will never die.
This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles film.
Hey everybody, this is Dave Niebuhr from Dog Eat Dog, and you're watching NerdCage Live. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel. These are great guys doing what they love to do.
I was a gay record executive. Keep in mind, I love heavy metal. I love the noise. I love the sweat. I love when I go to concerts, it's 99% guys. All of a sudden, this important little cassette came across my desk.
You know, I'm so glad that Alago showed up to see us live.
You know, Michael.
Subscribe.
The cult classic indie movie that's taking the world by storm finally gets its USA debut. Stone Films NYC and the New York Hardcore Podcast proudly presents Dick Dynamite 1944. Featuring members of the Exploit, Biohazard, Gnostic Front, Sleaford Mods, and many more. Vinny Stigma and Mike Gallo, Blog Dahlia, Lars Fredrickson, Waddy Bucket, Billy Gracia Day, Nick Oliveri, Dick Valentine as Commander Eagles Kearney, Joey Z, and many more. Hosted by Bruce Stone, including a Q&A with director Robbie Steve Davidson, as well as special cast member guests for one night only at the Nighthawk Cinema in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, New York. You'll explode when you see Dick Dynamite.
Hi, I'm Leah Montalongo, the OG Sindel. Please like, subscribe to NerdCage Live.
Hey guys, it's the original Shao Kahn, Brian Glenn, and I'd like you to subscribe to NerdCage Live.
Greetings, citizens. You're now trapped in the nerd cage. We hope you have a smashing good time.
You're now about to witness the strength of geek knowledge. Hello and welcome. That's right. Once again, you are trapped in NerdCage Live. This channel is a celebration of all things pop culture, including New York hardcore, baby. So please, if you're new to the channel, hit that like button and subscribe. Share it with everyone you know because it helps us more than you know. I'm your co-host, J St. G, certified geek, 7 days a week, coming to you live from yours truly. The land of Tom Cruise, the land of Earth Crisis, the land of Anthrax, the land of the Orange, rest in peace Jim Brown, Syracuse, New York, and always among us, it's our moderator and Trollhammer, stronger than the DK Banana Samba. You can't stop it. You can't crop it. You can't top it. Like a B-52 bomber, like Oppenheimer, he's gonna drop it. Born from the atomic seed in the titanium womb. He's the NerdCage Live Gaming Prophets, Joe from FallenOne Gaming. And tonight's special guest, Oh my God! From Stone Films, NYC, the New York Hardcore Chronicles, this man is a hardcore musician, formerly of Antidote NYC, now of Incendairy Device. He comes from a lineage of filmmakers. His father, Arnie Stone, is an Oscar winner. Ladies and gentlemen of NerdCage Nation, it is my distinct honor and pleasure to welcome the one and only Drew Stone from Manhattan. How's it going, my dude?
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for the enthusiasm. And I'm looking forward to having some fun with you guys. and it's past my fucking bedtime, so you know I usually don't do these things at night, but I love your show and I love what you guys bring. So let's get it on.
All right. I appreciate it. And Joe, before we go any further, who we got in the chat tonight?
We have a loaded chat tonight. We have Ray Hogan. We have Artara11. We have Shay Smithers, Doomzilla, and probably a ton of lurkers.
All right. We appreciate that, everybody. All right. So before we get started here, I just want to give the floor to Drew for just a moment here. I know you run the New York Hardcore Chronicles. You got some filming and screenings coming up, so I just want to give you the floor for just a moment here. Promote whatever you want to promote, my friend, and tell everybody where you're from, what you do.
I'm an American-born filmmaker and musician. Grew up in a musical household and a film household. I'm the host of the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. I've been in a bunch of bands, including the High and the Mighty, Antidote, and currently Incendairy Device. I'm a filmmaker. I had a whole career doing music videos, and those are some of the gold records back there. Had a whole career doing extreme sports films. I was a tour manager. I was a manager. I've been on many stages, held many mics, took airplane flights, done a lot of stuff. I'm currently in production of doing a documentary for a band called Biohazard. And I'm in pre-production with a dramatic film called Finders Keepers. And that's just for starters. So a lot of shit going on in my life, always.
And you also have your YouTube channel, Stone Films NYC, which links in the description, people. You do the New York Hardcore Chronicles show typically on Sundays and Wednesdays.
I'm the host of the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, usually on Sundays. If there's a reason for not a Sunday, then it's bookended by 2 Wednesdays. But the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live has been around for a couple years now. We're heading towards our 300th show. We've had a lot of people on, and it's a beloved show, and for that I'm very grateful.
Absolutely, and I just want to give everybody a background. I mean, you've interviewed, I remember recently you did Chris Jericho. Obviously, Evan from Biohazard, that was a great show. You recently had the gentleman that, forgive me, I forgot his name, but he directed the Alice in Chains videos and
Paul Rackman, the filmmaker, he directed the film American Hardcore. A lot of people are on show, from Moby to the Sepultura brothers to the Biohazard guys. So a lot of the New York Hardcore usual suspects: Vinny Stigma, Jimmy G, Roger Moret. Lots of actors, lots of actresses, lots of authors. It's a show that really took off during the pandemic and really established itself. And, I'm still doing it, and I still love doing it.
That's amazing. So you're living the dream.
Pretty much.
Absolutely, and not to mention,
I've been living the dream a long time.
Yes, you have. You've had a very storied career between music and films and documentaries. So,
I've lived a couple of dreams. I've been very fortunate that, I've done a lot of the things that I dreamed about as a kid and that I set out to do. Like I said, I've had a career as a musician. I've had a career as a filmmaker. I've had a career as a talk show host. I've done a lot of stuff. I've been very, very fortunate that I've been able to really chase my dreams and really live them somewhat.
Excellent. All right. Actually, Joe, we'll promote ourselves a little bit later. I actually really want to get into some questions here. And if there's questions in the chat, let us know. Joe will handle the questions and whatnot. But for starters, Drew, what was the moment? I'm dying to know. What was the moment in your life you decided you want to be a filmmaker?
Well, I don't know if there was a moment. I grew up in a household that was film was part of our life. My dad was a film director, you know, so I grew up with my dad directing commercials, and I grew up on film sets. And I was thinking about this, I think just today, is that like going to the movies, and movies were a big part of my life growing up. Like, it's something that me and my dad and my family did constantly. This was a constant thing, just sort of the culture of like going to the movies, you know? And I think for a lot of people that can be said that, you know, movies were a big part, but, you know, not only did I have that with my dad and my family, but, you know, a lot of my close friends growing up, you know, movies were a big part of it. And like I said, you know, growing up on film sets with my dad, there's pictures of me, you know, as a child on film sets. So at a young age, you know, and I saw my dad working with actors and stuff like that. So I wanted to be an actor for a long time. And, you know, as a teenager, I acted in, you know, in summer camp and things. And I did some modeling as a kid and as a teenager. And then I went to Emerson College in Boston to study acting. And, you know, at that point, you know, that sort of was what I was thinking. But what happened to me when I went to Emerson College in Boston was I ended up meeting somebody like my first day there, and I ended up getting into the hardcore thing. He brought me to my first hardcore show, and then I fell in with hardcore music.
And what band was that?
The first band I ever saw?
What hardcore band? Yeah, I was going to ask what hardcore band got you into the scene.
It was a band called SSD Control, SSD. You know, a Boston, very influential Boston hardcore band. I ended up going to like a real small, like art space. There was like 20 kids there, and saw them play, and it was a total watershed moment, and it changed my life. It changed my life completely. I fell in with, you know, the Boston crew and shaved my head and got into all that, and then, you know, got into a band soon after that. So my acting, I didn't really have the discipline, you know, I didn't have the discipline and focus to really commit myself and adhere myself to being studying acting at Emerson College. It was too much for me. I was young, I was immature, I wanted to party, and I was part of this fucking happening music scene that was blowing the fuck up, and it just seemed like that's the way to go. But and I might be getting in front of our interview here, but as part of the story, you know, for me, job always meant something in the film business, right? So even as a teenager, I worked in movie equipment rental houses, and I worked on film sets as like a production assistant. But like, you know, as a teenager, I worked in a movie equipment rental house. I learned how to drive, you know, film trucks. I learned how to fix the equipment. So job always meant something in the film business, even when I was in bands and this and that. And so and then I was a stage manager on a couple film stages in New York. You know, nice. I was a boom man. I worked crews. So for me, like, job always meant like something in the film business, even when I was like chasing a fantasy of trying to make it like in a fucking band, you know? Yeah. So I was always very connected to the film business. You know, my dad, you know, in those years was still directing, and I was on a lot of his sets. And so I was always somewhat connected. and then really got connected to it in a sort of a roundabout way, and that was through hardcore and through music when things came around. But you know, that's a little bit of a different, another story. I don't know if we want to go there yet. You know?
Oh, absolutely, man. We're all here to hear your stories, Drew. Like I said, this is an honor.
So what happened was, so I went to Boston. I studied acting at Emerson. I kind of crapped out of college. I got into a band called the Mighty COs, which was a hardcore band. But the hand played out in Boston, and I came back to New York. When I came back to New York, I started a band called the High and the Mighty, which was a straight New York hardcore band, played venues like A7 and CBGB's. From being in the High and the Mighty, I joined one of my favorite bands, a band called Antidote, right?
Yeah.
So I joined Antidote in 1984. And so I was in Antidote, constantly playing shows. And one of the bands that we played with was a band called Cro-Mags.
Yes!
And Cro-Mags guitar player, Paris Mayhew, I became friends with. And he was going to, I think, the New School here in New York, and he was studying, he was learning how to be a cameraman and this and that. And at that time, I was a stage manager for a film stage here in New York called 3Gs, where we did a lot of hip hop videos, a lot of great shit. It was there. Cyndi Lauper, She Bop was done there. You know, Big Daddy Kane, I Do Work, and so I was the stage manager on the stage, and playing with a lot of bands. Paris Mayhew came to me and said, "Hey, this band asked me to do a music video. I don't know. I'd like to do it. I'm not sure how to put it together. Do you want to do it with me? Do you want to produce it? So to make a long story short, basically, wait, let me just back it up a second. So my boss in the film stage said to me, if you rent out any of this equipment on the stage, because, you know, a film stage has the lights and the stands and all the shit, right?
Oh, yeah.
So my boss, Gabe DiRienzo, said, if you rent any of the equipment outside the stage, outside the building, I'll split it with you. So I had a van at the time, and, you know, my brother would come to town and he'd have a little shoot, and I'd throw a couple lights and a couple stands in. And so I did a couple jobs, and I saved up enough money to incorporate my production company, right? So I incorporated Stone Films NYC, right? So I cobbled it together, and I, you know, connected with a lawyer, and I formed Stone Films NYC, right?
Wow.
To do a couple little jobs, this, that, and the other thing, right? The next thing, I saved my pennies, and just as the things lined up, Paris Mayhew came to me and said, "Hey, I got this music video. Do you want to produce it?" Right at that moment, and I said, "Well, you know, what's the band?" It was a band called Biohazard, right? And the video was for a song called Punishment, right? So right there you go. So right at that moment, I had enough money to buy the $1 million insurance policy that you need in New York City in order to rent camera gear. I'm talking real camera gear, and in order to get a permit from the mayor's office to shoot. So right at that moment, I got the insurance. Paris comes on board. We contract the record label through Stone Films NYC, and we do Biohazard Punishment.
I love that video. Love that video.
Iconic.
Black and white. You guys are on the Brooklyn Bridge, then black and white. I mean, that shit was dope, man.
Absolutely.
And if I'm not mistaken, that got airplay on Headbangers Ball, right?
Yeah. Oh, that got played on Headbangers Ball and unprecedented 14 weeks in a row, which was unheard of, and that was partially due to Ricky Rackman, who was hosting Headbangers Ball at the time.
Yep.
He really loved the band, and he really did what he could to get it played. And so it did an unprecedented 14 weeks in a row. It was a big success. So as it was sort of hitting its stride, Biohazard was managed by a company called Rush Management, which was Russell Simmons, Def Jam, and a couple other people. And not only did Rush Management manage Biohazard, but they also managed a group called Onyx.
Yes, right? I was hoping to get to that.
So,
real quick, our buddy Mad Mike's in the chat, and he's a diehard Onyx fan. So Mad Mike, here you go, man. Yes, Mike, you're still in the chat.
So this
Onyx,
is the
here we
story,
go.
Mike. So Rush Management had the perspective to say, you know what? Let's get the Rock and Roll White Boys to do the Onyx Slam video, right? So we do the Onyx Slam video, and it blows through the roof. It goes to #1 on MTV. The whole thing goes double fucking platinum, and it becomes a huge success. And then we were just on a roll after that. After that, we did Run DMC, Ooh, What You Gonna Do? And then a little farther up, you could see Typo Negative, Black #1 up there.
Great video.
We did Typo Negative. And so we just went on this incredible run after that. Video after video after video. We did Onyx Slam. We just sort of went, we did Biohazard Punishment, Onyx Slam, Run DMC, Typo Negative. Then we did Biohazard Shades of Grey. We did Onyx Shifty. And then we did Biohazard and Onyx Slam together. Then we did King's X Dogman. We did Insane Clown Posse, Chicken Hunting. We did, Monster Voodoo Machine. We went on this incredible run for a couple of years doing music videos. And then,
now, did you guys? I'm sorry to interrupt, but did you guys also do? Did you also do the Judgment Night music video with Onyx and Biohazard?
No, but that is a Judgment Night gold record that I have.
Yes, I see. It's the best soundtrack of all time. Best soundtrack of all time.
Now, we didn't direct the Judgment Night video, but Biohazard gave me a gold record because I was very much involved with that band at the time. Although we didn't do the video, I was somewhat involved in it on the Biohazard end, sort of just giving advice, and I was very involved with Biohazard. We ended up doing, for Biohazard, we did Punishment, Shades of Grey, Tales from the Hard Side, Slam with Onyx, and After Forever off the
the Sabbath tribute, yes.
Yeah, we did that too. So I did 5 videos for Biohazard on that run, and then I ended up road managing for them and going on the road with them and all that. So they're a band that I was very much involved in. They were kind enough. They wanted me to have a gold record, when that thing went gold, just because I was just so involved with the band,
That is freaking awesome. Also, I just want to point out to you, Drew. So I'm a straight edge, and the main reason I decided to go straight edge, it's been 11 years now, was because of Billy Grazie Day. So
is that right?
Yes, so during that period of Biohazard over a decade ago, when Evan left and Scott Roberts was filling in for Evan, I hung out with Biohazard at what's that venue called in Poughkeepsie there, upstairs, the Chance. The Chance, yeah. So I went and saw Biohazard at the Chance, hung out with those dudes, and I just said to Billy, like, hey, do you want to go get a shot real quick? Because he's like, yo, but I don't drink, bro. And I'm just like, and it hit me like a wall of bricks, because like, Billy's in amazing shape. And I'm just like, all right, as I get older and I still want to whoop ass like Billy does and be in that kind of shape, then I'm going to go straight edge then. So, yeah. So, Billy, if you happen to see this, and I think I've told you this before, I wish straight edge because of you.
They're in Europe right now.
Yep, so. I know. Yep. That's very exciting. By the way, can I just point out, because we got to talk about that Biohazard concert in New York. I'm happy to see the 4 of them back together.
Yeah, for sure.
I was there, by the way, Drew. I was there when you did the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, when you had Evan on, and you cried, by the way. But I was there.
He fucks me up.
I saw the moment. You had the chat ask Biohazard. We want the Biohazard reunion, and I saw the look on Evan's face, and he was like thinking about it, and I'm just like, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. You set it in motion, dude. Like.
Yeah. It was. I'm very, very, very much connected with them. you know, very, very much. So it's very emotional, the whole thing. You know, I guess, you know, we could talk about it now. I mean, truth be told, you know, like I said, I'm
hang on.
announced yet. It will be soon. But I'm working on a biohazard documentary.
Yes.
And you know, I was out there in LA for the first rehearsals. I was in the room with the camera when they first came. Like, it was fucking heavy, man. It was really, really emotional. And I was there in LA when they first got back together. And then I was in Milwaukee for the first show. And then, of course, I was here in New York. You know, the band I'm in, Incendairy Device, played one of the shows with them in Irving Plaza. And then in between the two Irving Plaza shows, they played Friday, they played Sunday. In between on the Saturday was a shoot day with me and the band out in the street. I don't want to mention like specific locations, but we were in the old neighborhood in Brooklyn and talking about the history of the band, and it was really great. So I'm really tied in with those guys. You know, so there's that. And you know what? I got to shout out. I see in the chat room, I see some of my guys. I see RS70, who's a huge supporter, and Ray Hogan. And RS70 mentions Madball too. Promags, I went on to not only produce but direct. And I went on a run and I directed Agnostic Front Gotta Go, Madball Pride, Madball Down by Law, Sick of It All, you know, The Take, you know, blah, 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 Sub-Zero. And, you know, so I went on, after that, I went on a run. I was like the king of hardcore videos there. Yeah.
Wow, that's an incredible run. That's definitely an incredible run. And it was kind of cool to, you know, see these bands peak at that time. And it's also cool to see that they're all still together, or at least reunited. Yeah. And also, Joe and I just want to we just want to admire you for a second, because like we went and saw you with Dog Eat Dog this past Sunday.
That was great.
It was just amazing that you were able to pack that house on a Sunday afternoon, early Sunday afternoon, and it was just everybody was in good spirits, and you hosted that shit. Like, we just like I said, we admire you for all that hard work, man.
I'm really proud of those shows. A lot of hard work goes into it. I have a couple guys that work with me, a guy named Larry Kelly, Ray Hogan, and Tony Palmisano. We have a good team and really work hard. But what I really set out to do with those shows is not to be steeped in nostalgia. But what I really wanted, the table that I wanted to set with those shows was create an environment that was what I remember near and dear to me, which was the CBGB matinees, which happened right down the block. So I wanted to do a matinee on the Bowery, and thankfully our patron saint, Jesse Mallon, who's a co-owner of the club, you know, really enabled, you know, us to do that. So they're free, all ages Sunday matinees, and you know they really have some momentum, and it's really like quite an environment. And we really kind of created this environment. And I've said it many times, nothing brings me more joy than those shows.
And I also just want to say, Incendairy Device knocked it out of the park. That's my second time seeing you and Incendairy Device play. First time was at the Biohazard concert last month. 2 months ago, it was June. But also, we do have some Dog Eat Dog fans in the chat, because we did have Dave Niebuhr on the show last year.
I love those guys. Back to you know, all roads run through Biohazard. Yeah. You know, I was on the road, a big European tour in 1994. It was Biohazard Dog Eat Dog Downset, and like I spent like, you know, a month on the road with Dog Eat Dog in '94, and been friends with those. Yo, do you have that picture I sent you? Could you put up the picture on the show of the tapes that I sent you?
Yes, got it right here. Boom. It's on the screen right now.
Oh yeah, I don't see it. Do I not?
Well, it's because there's a delay. There's a delay.
Yeah. Okay.
be up in a second.
All right. So we'll just because there's some backstory that ties into those tapes. It's kind of cool, you know.
Yep, got them all right there. I can faintly see them labeled there, handwriting there. It says Biohazard on the tapes there. Yep, I see it.
Is it coming up on the screen?
Yeah, it's on screen right now. It's on screen right now.
There
It just hasn't just showed up on the feed yet.
Okay, I don't see it, but I'm going to assume it's on.
Yep.
It's on the screen.
Yep, it is.
So those tapes, right? Those tapes are I see Doomzilla said classic VHS. Those aren't VHS tapes. Those are high 8 tapes. And on that Biohazard Dog Eat Dog Downset tour in 1994, I had a high 8 camera, and I shot all this incredible footage. Also, I was with Biohazard when they recorded the State of the World Address album at A&M Studio in Hollywood, and I had all these tapes. So I carried those tapes around me for 30 years, through everything. You know, when I had to move, when I had to do this, when I got ran out of town, you know, all this kind of shit. I carried that box, you know, of tapes. So when it came time to do this I always knew I had this footage. When it came time, when the Biohazard thing got closer, I got on eBay and I bought a high 8 camera. And I used the high 8 camera as the player, and I went and got a hard drive, and I dubbed all the footage methodically and meticulously. I transferred everything and labeled everything, and I was like, wow, there's some real shit here, some really great stuff here. And so that stuff is playing heavy into this Biohazard documentary.
Was some of it, and I gotta ask, was some of it from Dynamo 1995?
No, I was not at Dynamo 1995, and that Dynamo 1995 footage you could see on YouTube.
Yep.
And that was, in a lot of ways, that was a pinnacle for Biohazard. I was not at that 1995 show. I was on a couple tours before that, but I couldn't even tell you what the reason is why I wasn't there at the time. But I wasn't at the 95, and that was one of the last things they did with Bobby before Bobby left the band.
Yeah. Yep. Actually, two things I want to bring up here. Actually, well, let me bring up. You just brought up Bobby. I'm just asking this for my own personal curiosity. I just want to ask you this question. This for you, Drew. What is your favorite Biohazard album that did not have Bobby in it? So basically, Mateo from Means to an End. Which is your favorite?
I wouldn't know. I never listened to those records.
Really? Wow. Okay. I had to ask.
Yeah. No. I mean. Oh no, that's not true. I'm sorry. Not true.
Okay.
My favorite record would be New World Disorder. That Bobby.
I agree. I'm 100% on board with that.
Because I was around for that record, and that was Rob Echevarria playing guitar, and Ed Stasium produced it. The same guy who produced State of the World Address, who of course produced the Ramones and the Smithereens and Living Colour. That record was when they signed to a new major label, and there was some money behind it, and that was a great, another great, big time recording session. That record, I love that record. That's probably my second favorite Biohazard record.
Wow. Okay. No, I was just curious. Joe.
I resist the pressure
to be who I want to be.
I love that record. I've listened to it recently. It sounds so good.
Oh yeah. That album still fucking slaps hard, and I love the title track at the very end, and Sticky Fingers is in. Oh god, love it.
Yeah. But also what you said about Mateo.
Yeah.
To me, that was a little tough because Bobby left the band, and then they went and did the record as like the three of them. And it's like whenever a band like loses a guy and doesn't replace him and just goes and does the record, that record was it was missing a big element,
Yeah, no, I agree. Even though I really love Authority,
yeah, but they never recorded with Scott Roberts, right?
Yes and no. Scott Roberts played guitar on Means to an End. And before Scott Roberts quit, they were recording an album, but obviously it's been scrapped. So we'll never see the light. That album will probably never see the light of day. Whatever tracks they got done will never see the light of day. There are photos out there on the internet.
They didn't record any tracks for that.
No, there's photos. There's photos of Scott.
They did photos of them in pre-production.
Okay,
they never started recording that record.
Yeah. So I know it didn't happen.
Before they split with Scott.
Yeah. Now I want to go back to Dog Eat Dog real quick, and Joe, back me up on this because we have some Dog Eat Dog fans in the chat here because Dave was on the show. By the way, who's the king? So we had the pleasure of hearing brand new Dog Eat Dog songs on Sunday.
Yeah.
I just want to say something. Joe, back me up on this. I thought the song sounded fantastic, but let me just say something real quick to everybody in the chat. Don't expect another All-Borough King, but because they're in a different stage of their life now. But my God, there are some great tracks that they played, especially Energy Rock. This album's going to be amazing. I cannot wait to new Dog Eat Dog for the first time in like 17, 18 years or something ridiculous like that. I'm telling you, it's going to sound great. But like I said, don't expect All-Borough Kings Part 2. This is a different Dog Eat Dog, but you guys are going to love it.
You know who wrote most of the material on All-Borough Kings, right?
Was it Dave?
Dan Nastasi.
Oh, okay.
So Dan Nastasi's in Kings Never Die now. And Dan wrote that stuff. That's why Kings Never Die has a lot of Dog Eat Dog kind of hooks in it and stuff.
Yes.
You know, that's the real Dan Nastasi style. Oh no, I don't feel so good. Well, that's Dan's style of songwriting. And so Dan didn't write the new stuff. But you know, those guys got their thing going on, and good for them. I love those guys, man.
Oh yeah, they're truly great people, and like I said, Joe, we had a blast, didn't we?
We did. We definitely did.
Yeah, and I appreciate you guys coming all the way down from Syracuse for us.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry if we caught you off guard, Drew.
Oh, it's great. It's great.
It was pretty funny. I'm like, hey, Drew, we did our homework, and then I'm like, we're stoked for Thursday.
I told you. Listen, I'll come on your show, but like, do your fucking homework, because I've been on other shows before, and like, don't bring me on your fucking show if you don't even know who the fuck I am.
Yeah. No. Well, I've been a fan for a minute, Drew. So.
Well, and I wasn't directing that at you. I mean, in general, I went on one show, and like, this one guy like didn't watch any of my films. Didn't really do his homework. It's like, come on, man. You guys put in a lot of hard work for the show. When I do my show, I fucking work at it.
I know. Yeah. And you go for like 2, 3, 4 hours. Like, I'm like, damn.
Yeah, I'm used to it at this point. I have a format that works for me. Like this is like my mind keeps playing tricks on me because I'm so used to. I have my hand on the mouse. And I'm like ready to like move the windows and bring in pictures, and it's like I'm a guest on this show. I'm not hosting.
I know the feeling. I'm just operating off a laptop. By the way, shout out to Eli Rex, New York City, Staten Island guy. Good to see you here, buddy. Thanks for your support.
Staten Island. What's up, Eli?
Yeah. Eli's he's a huge hip hop guy too. I was like, this guy's worked with Onyx.
Onyx Run. What did I do? I did Onyx, Run DMC.
Yeah.
I did. What else? I mean, and then I worked on. I worked with Eric B and Rakim early on the early Eric B and Rakim videos.
Nice.
Big Daddy Kane, Salt and Pepper. What's his name? What's his name with the patch? With the eye patch, Slick Rick. You know, this is all early. I was involved early on with the real early hip hop, New York hip hop stuff.
Now I gotta ask here. I gotta throw this out there because they've been part of the hardcore scene early on. Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
Have you worked? Have you done?
Are you asking my opinion?
well, no. I asked if you have you done work with the Beastie Boys and obviously you must have been there before like the early days when they were still like a punk band before they went hip hop. I'm just curious because you must have been there.
I never worked with them. We would have liked to, but the Beastie Boys went. This is my take on it.
Yeah.
They went from being like a really silly, not very good hardcore band to sort of getting in at the ground level of the hip hop thing and patterning themselves after Run DMC, and they wanted to be the white Run DMC, and that shit was like, I looked at that, I thought it was really goofy, and silly. But then License to Ill came out and just changed everything, So, they kind of went from I didn't think they were. I thought they were like a silly, like goofy hardcore band that, I came up like the hardcore bands that resonated for me were like Minor Threat, Negative Approach, Early Black Flag, Bad Brains. Like this is the real SSD Control, shit like Discharge. Like the Beastie Boys were like, they were like kind of a joke to me,
Wow. Yeah, I'm a little surprised by your take, just because they're Brooklyn guys, whatnot. So
they were. I just thought it was silly and childish and goofy, and and also you gotta understand, and I'm sure this is still very much the case, is that back then, I came in the first wave. So you're looking at kids that are a couple years younger than you. That's like what was 3 years back then felt like 10 years.
Yeah.
So, they just weren't a band early on that was like, yo, we got to go see the Beastie Boys at A7. They're awesome. No, it was we got to go see the Bad Brains at fucking CB's.
Yes.
that kind of shit. And then listen. The Beastie Boys turned out to be extremely talented and did a lot of really, really great stuff. And I'm not knocking them in any way, shape, or form. They it's almost safe to say they almost changed the face of modern music with what they did, you know? But I'm just giving you my early sort of semi-ignorant take on things.
Well, because like I said, because I know their early history, they weren't a hip-hop group, they were a punk group, so that's why I wanted to get your take on it. And then it was just kind of amazing. They went from opening with Madonna, Public Enemy to Madonna. Like how does that happen?
There was two bands. There was two bands back then. There was the Beastie Boys, right? And there was also the Young and the Useless. And the Young and the Useless had Adam Horovitz in it, Ad Rock. He played guitar in it. A couple other people were in it. And then you had the Beastie Boys when they were a hardcore band, which had the two other guys in it, right? Michael Diamond and Adam Yauch. So what happened was, those sort of two hardcore bands sort of collapsed, and Adam Horovitz, aka Ad Rock, joined the Beastie Boys when they started doing the hardcore stuff. And they connected with Rick Rubin and all that.
Oh yeah, Rick Rubin. The world's most famous producer, pretty much.
Yeah.
And you got to think of the different viewpoints too, because if you have somebody like you that grew up during the entire rise and fall and everything of all these bands, and then you have people like us where we grew up in like the 90s. By the time we were going to shows, they were already incorporated. So So it's good to hear your take on it, because we didn't live through that,
Yeah, and it's just my take on it. I try very much not to be that like back in the day guy. You know what I mean? Like, because I firmly believe that this is back in the day right now, and these times are as relevant as anything else. It's really cringeworthy, I think, when people start in with that, shit today's, back in the day when, it's such bullshit, man. When people get into all that, well, when I was doing it, stay the fuck home. There's plenty of people right now, plenty of kids that are having their glory days and having, you know, their moment right now. And, you know, I find that a lot of the people that carry on with that back in the day shit are people that don't have anything going on in the present or anything looking forward to the future. So it's like a big fish store. You know, we were the, don't you know who we are? You know, we were the biggest band who, like, we played my mother's garage 3 times and, like, we were so important. And, like, you got written up in a fanzine, but, you know, you know, but everybody has their own, you know, fantasy and their own take on things, you know. And one thing's for sure, you know, if you're doing it, you don't need to be talking about it. You're doing it, you know. So a lot of the people that I know that are out there making great art and doing great shit, they're not up there pontificating about it. They're letting their results speak for themselves.
Yeah.
Amen. All right, I want to shift gears to some of your films and on your most recent films. But before we get to that, Joe, let's just plug our upcoming shows real quick. All right.
All right.
All right. So Joe, go ahead, man. What do we? Our latest video, Joe. Go ahead.
Yes, our Sonic food review of the Sonic G Fuel energy drink.
Yes, check that video out. We had a lot of fun making it. More food reviews on the way, obviously nerd related. And then, Joe, tomorrow night.
Yes, tomorrow night we go back to Halo.
Yes, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. That's going to be on twitch.tv/NerdCageLIVE or our sub-channel, NerdCageLIVE Gaming. And then, Joe, shifting over to next Tuesday.
Yes, next Tuesday we are going to be doing our video game console tier maker.
No, Tuesday. No. The Link's Awakening.
Oh, Link's Awakening. I don't know why I forgot that. Tuesday is Link's Awakening, our cozy stream. And then that Thursday.
Yes, that's our tier maker.
There we go. That Thursday will be our video game tier maker with Fist Vegas, Shaquille O'Neal, and Tabmonk99.
Yes, and then we're going to be taking the following week off, and then Thursday, August 24th, Joe.
Will be Sean Wick from JT is Reborn.
Cannot wait, friend of the channel. And then, Joe, Saturday the 26th.
I turned 36. My God, am I that old? And we're going to be doing a watch party of Ready Player One,
which is streaming on HBO Max. We cannot show the movie on screen due to copyright reasons, but we'll have a timer that's going to be synced up with the movie. And then finally, Joe, August 31st.
Yes, the Jesus of Joe Blow celebrity interviews. Jimmy O.
Yes, Jimmy O from Joe Blow, movie critic and celebrity interviewer, is going to be on August 31st. We are excited to have him on. I've been working with this guy for the last 2 years. We've never talked face-to-face before. Yeah, Drew, I never told you. I work for Joe Blow Media as a side gig. So I edit celebrity interviews and I do videos for Joe Blow Media. It's been really tremendous. I've been there almost 2 years now, and I cannot believe.
I don't know what Joe Blow Media is.
Joe Blow, so they do movie reviews and so on and so forth. They interview celebrities.
I'm looking it up. It's called Joe Blow Media?
Yeah, it's that JOBLO. It's they're out of Montreal, Canada, and they saw NerdCage Live and they hired me. So like, yeah. So I've been working for them for the past 2 years. I make content for them. I edit content for them. Okay. I just recently edited an interview for oh my gosh, I've done a bunch. I did one with Kate Beckinsale. Yeah,
I see
so
it.
That's my side gig. I'm really proud to work with them. And
is that car stuff?
Oh, they did one video. They Jimmy drove the Porsche from the new Transformers movie.
What? Joe Blow Media?
Yeah, Joe Blow. There's Joe Blow Originals, Joe Blow Movie Trailers, Joe Blow Horror. They have a bunch of like channels. But I edit their celebrity interviews, and I see it.
Joe Blow Horror. I see.
Yeah, I work for them, and the owner Bird, she's from Montreal, and like I said, they were hiring. They saw NerdCage and they hired me. I couldn't believe it. It's a dream come true.
Wow, good for you.
Yes, and one more thing I want to plug real quick, guys. If you want to support the channel, the best way to support the channel is if you purchase yourself a NerdCage Live t-shirt at our T-Punk, link in the description. We have many designs here, including this, our regular shirt with the Strength of Geek now, which is on the back. Any size, any color. Hell, even in pink if you want to go see the Barbie movie. And we even got the Pornhub design. For you hip-hop fans, we got the Wu-Tang design. For you PlayStation fanatics, we got the PlayStation design. And of course, for your Mortal Kombat fanatics, we got a bunch of Mortal Kombat designs here. A whole bunch. We even have the Marvel Studios design, the Godzilla design, the Zelda design, and more. Go to our TeePublic, link in the description. Listen, whether for your skinny booty call or a fat fuck, we go from small all the way to 5XL. All right, so get yourself a NerdCageLIVE t-shirt as well as stickers, magnets, and hell, Mike Lindell here for NerdCageLIVE pillow. Get yourself a pillow. So yeah, link in the description, everybody. You be directly supporting us, and you're gonna love the way you look. I guarantee it.
Prop your girlfriend's ass up on that pillow.
Do it.
Yes.
Or your boyfriend. I don't know.
Yeah, it don't matter. Exactly. All right, so Drew, can we talk about? So we're getting to 9 o'clock here. Can we talk about what your 2 films real quick? Who the fuck is that guy? The Michael Alago story. By the way, everybody, that movie's available to stream on YouTube, Tubi, Amazon, for free. So be sure to check that out. But Drew, kind of give us a little background on Michael Alago.
And what's the other film you want to talk about?
Can we talk about Dick Dynamite just because?
Okay. We'll talk about Dick Dynamite after. All right. So, who the fuck is that guy? The Fabulous Journey of Michael Alago is a film I directed. It's about a Hispanic gay kid from Brooklyn who grew up in a Hasidic neighborhood and went on to change the face of the music business. It's a really interesting true story. About a guy who just loved music. He grew up in a challenging household, and at a very young age, he was sneaking out of his house and going down to Max's Kansas City and CBGB's to see music, and he was the head of the Dead Boys fan club, and then at a very young age, he wandered into a place called Webster Hall that was reopening as a place called the Ritz in New York City.
I've been there.
And they hired him just because they loved his enthusiasm. And he ended up being the booker for the Ritz. And then at 21 years old, he got an A&R job at Elektra Records. And incredibly, today, I was told, is the 40-year anniversary of this magical night when he went to go see a band play, and he signed them, and it really changed the face of the music business. The first band that Michael Alago, at age 21, signed to Elektra Records was a band called Metallica. And, which is interesting because I'm going to see Metallica play tomorrow with Michael Alago. So that's
home of the Giants! Sorry, I'm a Giants fan.
Yeah.
As you can see, I got the Wu-Tang Giants hat, and Drew, that helmet right there is signed by the GOAT, Lawrence Taylor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But I wanted to go see Metallica and Pantera at MetLife so bad, but I just...
That's tomorrow, yeah. So Alago's a guy that I used to see around New York City all the time.
Yes, I was about to ask.
And I'd like, whether I was like down at CBGB's or backstage at, whatever, I just kept seeing like this guy who was somewhat little out of place, somewhat because, a sort of flamboyantly young, gay guy, Hispanic gay guy in a scene that was, in lack of a better term, kind of homophobic. And I would just see him anywhere, and I would be like, who the fuck is that guy? So years and years later, I reconnected him when I was managing a band called Sub-Zero, and they went out in Europe with the Misfits, and we were all out together on the road. I was out there managing Sub-Zero, and Alago came out because he had just signed the Misfits to Geffen Records, and they did that American Psycho record on Geffen Records. So I sort of reconnected with, that's when I really connected with him out on the road and got to know him a little bit. And then years and years went by, and I was back in New York, and I directed a film called XXX All Ages XXX, the Boston Hardcore Film, which is about the early Boston hardcore scene. So I directed that film, and the film was doing its world premiere at the Boston International Film Festival, and Alago showed up. And I was like really, really humbled and really honored, and just like out of the blue. I mean, I wasn't even in touch with him. He just like showed up. And I was really taken aback by that gesture. And he loved the film, and I really, really appreciated it. And then that film was kind of running its course, and I was thinking about what to do, what I wanted to do next. And I went to a Cro-Mag show here in New York City, and I was backstage, and Alago was there, and I saw Alago, and I was talking to him, and I walked away thinking to myself, that guy's got an incredible story, and that would make an incredible, documentary. So I reached out to him and said, hey, I'd like to get together, and talk to you about something. So he invited me over to his apartment, and I tell this story a lot. He says it's not the case, but this is the story that I like to tell, right? This is in my world where like Spider-Man's in the Fantastic Four. This is my version of it. So I go to Alago's apartment, and he sort of doesn't know what is this? Like, he has no idea. Is this like a sex thing? Is this like, like what is this? So I walk down, the hall, like, which is like a gauntlet of penises, because he has all this, what's his name, Robert Mapplethorpe photography, like all on the walls, all this like really homoerotic stuff. And I walk the penis gauntlet, and I sit down with him, and I start talking to him, and I say, I'd like to make a film, a documentary about your life. And we start talking about it. And we start talking and this and that. And the conversation goes on for a while. And at a certain point, he says to me, he goes, I just love music. And like, in that moment, it was like, it hit me right between the eyes, It was like, I just had this fucking flash. And it was like, I know who this guy is. This is the kid that I went to high school with growing up in the Bronx. I know who this person is, and I have no fucking doubt that I could tell the story and do it justice. And like all in like
and you
one
did.
moment. Like,
you absolutely did.
Yeah. And the story goes from there. We decided to make the film. We started a Kickstarter thing. A lot of people came on board. Financially supportive. Cyndi Lauper came on board. Rob Zombie came on board. Jesse Malin came on board. Because they love him. And he signed Metallica. He signed White Zombie. And a lot of other things. Metal Church and just a lot of other things. And people wanted to support him and see him. And all these people are in the film. All the Metallica guys, Rob Zombie, Sean from White Zombie, Doyle from the Misfits, Cheetah Chrome from the Dead Boys, Cyndi Lauper's in the film, John Lydon from the Sex Pistols.
Sex Pistols, yeah.
Is in the film. So we do the Alago film, and it turns out being really successful. And it goes to Netflix for 3 years. And it really put me on the map. But I tell you, as that film was winding out, and it was these fucking films take a long time to get done. And I spent a year, 1 year of my fucking life, clearing the music and the photos and the footage. 1 year, So while that was going on, I was getting really frustrated, and so I started another film. And this film happened quick, and that's the New York Hardcore Chronicles film.
Yes.
And that film happened while the Alago film was going on, and it got to the point that while I was sort of interviewing certain people for the Alago film, when I was done, I would interview them for the New York Hardcore Chronicles film.
Yes,
Like,
by the
for
way,
instance-
everybody, I played those trailers at the beginning of the show. I'm going to play the trailers at the end of the show. And if you want to watch these films, I actually happen to have the links to both of those movies in the description. Everyone, check those movies out. I promise you, they're absolutely enjoyable.
They're all on Amazon. They're on Amazon. If you're looking for something to watch, watch Who the Fuck Is Me? Watch Who the Fuck Is That Guy? The Fabulous Journey of Michael Alago, the New York Hardcore Chronicles film. There's a sort of alternate version of it on there too, called the New York Hardcore Chronicles Film 1.5. There is XXX All Ages, XXX the Boston Hardcore Film, and so that's the case. So yeah, I mean, I could go on about that film for probably another 20 minutes.
Yeah,
So,
no, they were
yeah.
great. By the way, I also want to point out too, I don't want to spoil too much because you guys have to see it, but there are some really brilliant animated segments.
Yeah, there's some great animation in it.
I laughed my ass off. Okay,
Yeah,
guys,
some
you
good
have
shit in there.
you have to see it. I'm not gonna say. I won't say.
I gotta put some animation in this new Biohazard film. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, listen. I'm just gonna say this right now, right here. Whoever did the animation for the Michael Alago film, you need to get that same person to animate for that Biohazard film that you're working on.
Yeah, for sure. Jim
But
Thompson. Yeah.
But yeah, guys,
Yep.
the links are in the description, and I will play those trailers. I'll gladly play these trailers for you at the end of the show, guys. Highly recommend. Again, I'm just want to just put my stamp of approval. Like I said, I had a blast watching it again. You had Metallica, Cyndi Lauper, Mina from Life of Agony. I mean, the list goes on. I mean, Joe, help me sell this movie.
Oh yeah, I was watching it at work, and I had people crowding around like, "What is this?" You know, so
Thank you. It's an entertaining.
Yeah. So, like I said, highly recommend from NerdCage Live. Go watch it. Like I said, the link is in the description. All right. So, okay. So it's 9/11 here. I want to shift gears one more time here, Drew. So you're hosting
the Dick Dynamite thing.
Yes, exactly. That was Dick Dynamite. Yeah. Let's talk about. For those who missed it, I played the trailer early on.
So here's the 5-minute monologue on Dick Dynamite. Dick Dynamite 1945 is a really fun film. It's sort of like Inglourious Bastards meets The Walking Dead. You know, it's like a crazy, wild, gory, zombie type of film. It's pretty wild. It's directed by a guy named Robbie Davidson, known as Steed. And he was the guitar player in a band called The Exploited. And another connection with Biohazard, he was a touring guitar player in the band Billy Bio, which is Billy from Biohazard, right?
Yeah.
So Robbie directed the film Dick Dynamite. He came across my radar screen. I had him as a guest on my show. And he was on the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, and we really connected. He's an independent filmmaker. I'm an independent filmmaker. I saw what he did with his film. I loved it. I had him on the show. We chatted it up, this and that. And then I have a film script called Finders Keepers. It's been around for a long time. And it's been in a rewrite. It's been rewritten a couple times, and it's getting closer and closer. And I feel like at that point, which wasn't too long ago, I want to create alliances with this film. I want to get this film done. And I can't make a feature film by myself, So I ended up creating an alliance with Robbie, and him and his two cinematographers, Ian and Sandy, are coming aboard my film Finders Keepers, and they're coming to New York 4 weeks from tomorrow, and we're doing table reads with some actors, including a lot of guys we've talked about on this show who are reading to be in the film, and we're going to be doing location scouting locations. And while they're here, there's a screening of Dick Dynamite 1944 at the Nighthawk Cinema in Brooklyn. I am moderating the Q&A with Robbie and Vinny Stigma, who's in the film, and the actor who plays Dick Dynamite. So Dick Dynamite is not my film per se, but I'm involved with it somewhat. There's a screening, and I love the film so much, I have the guys involved in my kind of dream film, because you got to have a dream, as my dad would say, which is Finders Keepers. So I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I'm actually really excited. I'm actually strongly thinking about going to the screening for this movie. I'd like to. If I can make it happen, I'm going to. But I was blown away by that trailer. Not that it was really well shot, but all the familiar faces, like you said, Vinny Stigma, Joey Z, who's been on the show before, by the way.
Yeah.
Like we're excited for this movie. And by the way, I'm a huge fan of
that film is right. That film is right down your alley. You guys would love it.
We're excited.
I hope you could come down. I think it is a Thursday night, and I know coming down from Syracuse on a fucking Thursday
and
night.
Me and Joe, we work weird schedules, so trust me, I want to. I really do.
Yeah. So that's what's happening. That's what's up with Dick Dynamite,
Okay, well, we're excited. And by the way, guys, we will play that trailer at the end of the show. So listen, the bar's closing. So if anybody has some questions for Drew, now's your chance. I happen to have a question for you, Drew, real quick.
Get weird.
Yes, get weird. Okay, so my first question for you, Drew. What you have to go, in any order? What are your 3 favorite movies?
And it's not a question that I haven't been asked 300 fucking times before.
I'm dying to know.
Hold on. Can I get my list up? So I'm not forgetting anything. Hold on.
Drew's holy trinity of movies.
Yeah, hold on. Gotta find it.
Make them spicy, people. Now's your chance. Like I said, the bar is closing, so we're gonna whip some questions at Drew.
I don't know what I have it. Movies? Films? Top 10 films? Let me see. Top 10 films? Or am I gonna have to just wing it? Fuck. Let me see. Huh. Yeah, I guess I'll just have to wing it. Hold on. Right. One more try. Yeah. Everything else is top 10 films, maybe? All right. Yeah, it's not. Yeah. All right. I'd say probably I've been asked this many times. My favorite film that I go with, my go-to, is Shawshank Redemption. It's just a film that really, really speaks to me and resonates with me. It's incredibly directed by Frank Darabont, which is probably why I was such a fan of The Walking Dead early on, because he was the guy who brought The Walking Dead that first season, which is incredible, to the screen. But I just love that film. I love the acting. I love the way it's shot. It's just a really touching film. I'd also say, in what other films are really? A film called Fitzcarraldo, which is I'm a big Werner Herzog fan. Next to my dad as a filmmaker, probably he's my biggest influence as a filmmaker. And nice. The film Fitzcarraldo, I know it seems like an obscure, weird film. A lot of people out there haven't heard of it, but I highly recommend it. It's an incredible story about just making your dreams come true, and at any cost. And it's more important to see your dream happen than what your financial gain might be or whatever. And it's about living your dreams and making it happen. And that's always a theme that really resonates with me. Let's see, there's other things that have had huge influences on me. The original Planet of the Apes film.
Yes!
A huge influence.
I love those movies. I love those movies. All of them.
Yeah. Road Warrior, the film Road Warrior was big for me. Jaws was big for me. But yeah, that kind of stuff. It's a great film that's coming up in my head that was a really, as far as great filmmaking goes, Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, that's a good one.
Was an incredibly well-made, emotional film that really. Oh, you know what film I love? And it could slip in. It could, if you said top 5, it might be number 5 for me. The film Almost Famous.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Francis McDermott.
That's a film that really spoke to me. It's done well. Cameron Crowe directed it. There's a lot of real life stuff in there. There's stuff in that film that I've actually lived. So like seeing something like that is like, like there's scenes in that film that like I lived that, I did that, I was there, I spoke those words. So that film really like, and I also love that film because it's young people playing young people. And like, it's not fucking Madonna playing a fucking high school student or something,
just so you know, Drew, we did a retrospective of that movie on NerdCage. I will gladly send it to you.
Okay.
That was my first time watching it at the time too. We did like the 20th anniversary of that film. But yeah, that's an excellent film. And like I said, shout out to Cameron Crowe who done he did singles.
There's just a bunch of them, like that kind of stuff, but that's, and then there's stuff like a lot of the Scorsese stuff.
Got it from New York.
I mean, there's like that's the kind of shit growing up, like with my dad, like those kind of films. I've watched The Godfather with my dad 100 times. There's stuff I watched with my dad growing up, a lot of 70s movies, like, so those are cherished memories, for me. Yeah.
God bless your dad. I watched your interview. The man just turned 90. Like, wow. Like, 90. Drew, you are absolutely lucky
He executive produced. I have a film right now that's doing the film festival circuit. It's called The Jews and the Blues. It's about sort of like my musical journey that turns into a bit of a spiritual journey. It's doing film festivals right now. And it's going to end up streaming soon. But that's the film that's like I have out there right now, and my dad was the executive producer on that, so that was cool.
That's wonderful. Joe, there's Joe, fetch that question there.
A couple questions. RS70 asks, will there be any street bike warriors on the Chronicles?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's odd because I had a whole career, and actually that's what that is actually. That's a plaque from. I had a whole career. Something I don't talk about very much. I had a whole career directing extreme sports films, and I did the whole. I did the film 12 O'Clock, which turnkeyed the whole sport, and then I did all the urban street bike warrior films. So I did 9 films in 7 years, and this was sort of in this whole in between sort of stage, and. We don't talk about it very much on my show. There's not a lot of overlap between sort of like when I lived that life, like people didn't know me for the musician hardcore stuff or anything. And now that I'm sort of been back in New York in the hardcore thing, not a lot of people connect me with the street bike thing. It's sort of like a chapter of my life that doesn't like get a lot of airplay or talk, but I've talked about having an Urban Street Bike Warriors reunion on as one of my shows and bringing on some of the main guys, like the main guys, like this dude, Chris Teach McNeil, actually still he rides for BMW, and still to this day. I mean, he was a street rider and he made a career of it. He fucking rides for like BMW, and. One guy, Kyle Woods, is a stunt man in Hollywood. So it is a cherished, era of my life, and I'm so appreciative that I had that run. It was great. It was incredible. It brought me around the world. It put me on the map. And RS, we need to do an Urban Street Bike Warrior reunion show on the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live.
That's awesome. I just learned something new about you today, so that's awesome. All right, Joe, there's another other question. Okay, just a fair warning, Drew. We have a lot of gamers.
I knew this question was going to come up. I knew this question was going to come up. And I'm genuinely curious myself. Do you or have you played video games, and what are some of your favorites, if so?
My video game career is fairly limited. I don't play video games right now, but I grew up in sort of the classic era of video games, and for me, those games, like my favorite game was Defendar. You know?
Yes. Yep.
I don't know. Is it Defender or
Defender?
Defendar?
It's Defender. It's Defender, but yeah, that was a Midway/Williams game. Same people
That's
made
right.
Mortal Kombat.
That's
So yes,
right.
yes. So yeah, no, I'm a fan of Defender.
We always called it Defendar. Like that was big. I mean, you know, when I grew up, I'm a little bit older than you guys. You know, kind of a lot of this stuff at the time that stuff didn't exist. You would have to go to an arcade. You know, I remember when we had, we had Pong. You know what Pong is? Well, we had Pong. That was a big deal on the black and white TV. It was like, Pong was like, a big deal. But I sort of, when I sort of phased out of it when I became a filmmaker somewhat. And then things kind of came, I understand, and I respect people that have a love and a passion, for gaming and stuff. But it's just not something I didn't really re-enter, the realm. So,
I kind of figured, but still, it's awesome.
What I always loved and I still do is pinball. And, when I go down to Florida to see my dad, there's the Pinball Hall of Fame. I love,
oh, that's cool.
As a teenager, when I grew up, we loved playing pinball.
Since you brought pinball up, I gotta ask. Over in Chicago, and I see Tab Monk in the chat. In Chicago, the Galloping Ghost Arcade, the biggest arcade in the world. They have two sections. They have the arcade games section, and they got the pinball section. Just wondering if you've ever been to the Galloping Ghost Arcade. Because you said you like pinball, I had to bring that up. Next time you're in Chicago, go to the Galloping Ghost Arcade, go to the pinball section.
I will. I love playing pinball. Pinball's a big one. Like I said, in Florida, we go to the Pinball Hall of Fame. And I always look for those pinball machines that, I spent a summer on, Like, back then, you spent a summer on a fucking machine. With your friends gathered around, fucking just, fucking beating on a pinball machine. So that was really, my passion. And of course, I liked sports growing up. I'm a New York guy, so and I know you're a Giant fan, and I know it's the same thing. It's like Yankees, Giants, Rangers, Knicks.
Yep, that's me.
So
those are my teams.
Yeah. So that, and then the other hand, you got Mets, Jets, Islanders, Nets.
Yep, so I got family in Long Island. They're Islanders fans. It's like, oh.
Yeah. So that's that.
Yeah.
Next question I have here are you a fan of anime? Shay Smithers asks.
Not really. I don't really know that much about it. It's not my forte, so to speak. Like I said, I know people have a passion for it and love it, and I respect that. But it's just not something I'm very versed in. Like,
oh, good.
I could, we could talk about, I was a big comic book collector as a kid,
Yes. That was my question for you. Is,
I was a Marvel Comics guy. I love, Marvel Comics growing up. And, all that universe really speaks to me. But, this is like I've talked about, this is the road that I went down, music videos, being in bands. Not that you can't be into that too, but that was sort of like my road,
What did you say what's your favorite comic book and who's your favorite comic artist and who's your favorite Super Marvel hero?
Well, when I was collecting Marvel Comics as a kid and a young teenager, I think I really loved the Avengers.
Nice.
And there was a couple runs of the Avengers. Neil Adams did the Avengers. At a certain point, George Perez. I love what he did with it. We love the Hulk. Me and my good friend Mark Levine collected comics together. We collected all those titles: the Hulk, the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, the X-Men. Just tons. But it's funny because I talked about this on my last show. One of my favorite titles in Marvel was a title called Killraven, Warrior of the Worlds. And this was like a really off sort of, like, not a real popular comic, but I really loved that character, and I loved that sort of world of his. And I was a really big fan of a lot of the Marvel movies that came out for many years before they just turned into like, you know, animated video games. You know, there was a point where it was like they were kind of pretty great, but you know, the last couple I've seen have just been all animated, sort of like
silly,
very silly,
kind
very
of
formula. You know, I thought that Avengers Endgame was really good.
Yeah.
You know, that was the second one, right? The second one when Thanos.
Yeah. Infinity War was the first one, and then Endgame was the part 2. Yep.
I thought Endgame was great, and the reason I thought it was great was because, you know, it wasn't like the typical the good guys win. It was like the middle movie where like Thanos kills half the world, and it was kind of fucked up. You know, I mean, and then the third one was like, okay, back to the good. You know, we saved the world. But I love how like that movie was kind of fucked up. And I like that, you know, but you know, movies are tough these days. You know, I think that there's just you see movies now and they have to have this in it and they have to have that in it, and it just is sort of like
it seems like they're who can use technology to outdo each other, basically.
And there's so much forced stuff in it. You know, it's like, well, you have to have like, you have to have this like totally diverse cast, which is sort of like, okay, but sometimes it's like, this is just sort of like so unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
a lot of people share that sentiment. Absolutely. Oh, hold on, it looks like a connection error here.
And there's a lot of those movies that I enjoyed. You know, I raised a kid, and me and my son we would go first day front row to all these for like 10 years.
Nice.
You know? So yeah, it was great. Yeah.
All right, a couple more questions, and I think we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, exactly. And then I got a question, and then we'll wrap it up. So 2 questions, and then I'll do my question.
Doomzilla asks if you're a fan of kaiju stuff like Godzilla and stuff like that, or
well, of course I'm. Is kaiju a reference to like the early Godzilla stuff?
Yes.
Kaiju is basically all giant monsters, so Godzilla, King Kong, that type of stuff.
Yo, absolutely. I mean, I grew up on that stuff. You know, the basic stuff. You know, this is stuff that was really, really big in my world. You know, like I said, I'm a little bit older than you guys, but you know, growing up, the original Godzilla movies, Godzilla vs. the Smog Monster, Godzilla vs. King Kong.
Wow!
Godzilla, you know, Godzilla Rodan, Godzilla vs. You know, Mothra. You know, those first 10 Godzilla movies or 15, those were like, you know, staples. You know, growing up. That you'd watch again and again and again. So, you know, and all that kind of funky shit. Battle of the Gargantuans.
Yes!
You know,
yes!
You know, like all that stuff. You know, all that stuff was big, big in my world. And you know, that kind of segues into the early horror films. Yeah, there you go. Into the early horror films that, you know, really touched me as a kid. Night of the Living Dead. You know, it terror from, you know, outer space and shit like that. You know, like you know, I remember growing up, we had a black and white TV. You know, it was like I had a black and white TV growing up. You know, so yeah, so like all that stuff. But again, I gotta say, like, yo, it's painful to sit through a fucking Godzilla movie now. You know, they pretty much suck. I mean, yeah, there's moments and you want it to be great and like. You know, there's nothing worse than when you see when you see a movie and like you just like you're trying to convince yourself that it's good and it's great. And like, you know, I see a lot of things like, you know, and like they're just not good. You know, and none of those new Godzilla movies I thought were like, yeah, they might have had a moment here or there, but
yeah,
they got way off track with what kind of like, you know, I want to see Godzilla like fucking shit up, you know, and like, you know, and you know, things that you know, some movies make it through that are like, okay, like, you know, listen, let me flip it on you guys.
Yeah.
Like, what are you guys watching? Like what do you guys like? You know what? Hold on. You know what? Me and my gal are watching The Witcher. You guys watch The Witcher on Netflix?
Joe has. I haven't.
And I've played the game. So
yeah. So we're really enjoying The Witcher right now. It's really sort of this third season's really kind of complicated and a little hard to follow.
Yeah.
But you know, we're really enjoying that. You know, we're real fans of the original, the Lord of the Rings movies. We love that stuff. You know, those movies. Okay, let's take a step back. You want to talk about some great movies?
Yeah.
Fucking those first 3 Lord of the Rings movies.
Yes.
Were by Peter Jackson. Those were just done really well. And they don't look and act like a fucking video game. You know.
Yeah.
They're great. You know, I'm a big fan of that stuff. So we're really enjoying that stuff. So you know, I guess I'm somewhat involved. You know, on the.
The chat just lit up, Drew. You made everybody's day today. Like, they were just waiting because me and Joe kind of knew that question was coming because we know who our audience is and whatnot.
And the last question I have here is from RS70 again. It's with your 300th New York Hardcore Chronicles coming up, who would the ultimate guest be?
Well, we've talked about this a couple times.
Yep.
Henry Rollins, Ian Mackay, you know, for Minor Threat, Ice-T, maybe Ray Capo from Youth of Today.
Nice.
You know, those are kind of the 4. Oh, John Brannon from Negative Approach. Like,
that'd be great.
Those are like my, you know, those are the big scores. I mean, I think Henry Rollins, I'd really like to.
That would be insane.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for that conversation.
Yeah. I'd like to get Henry Rollins on the show. So there's that. You know, like, you guys know, I mean, getting guests on a show, you know,
it's tough.
Sometimes it comes in waves. You know, you go bang, 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 and you know. But I'm fortunate, you know, with my show, people want to come on my show. People know about my show, and
you do a fantastic job. I'm just gonna sell it real quick, guys. Subscribe to Stone Films NYC. Tune into New York Hardcore Chronicles. Guest after guest after guest. You name it. I'm telling you gotta see this show. I've been a fan for a minute here, and the fact that you're able to come on our show, it's just been a real honor.
Well, thanks.
So my last question to you, Drew, and I asked this question to every guest on NerdCage Live. I'm asking you, Mr. Drew Stone, would you like to come back again on NerdCage Live?
Of course. You guys are great, and you know, I really appreciate your enthusiasm. You know, and you guys do your homework. And that means a lot to me. And, you know, we talked about this before the show. You guys support me. And, like, you guys support me, you know what? I'm going to fucking support you, because that's how it works in my world. You know, you guys were down at the show on Sunday. You saw my band play. You came all the way down from Syracuse. That means the world to me, and that shows a lot. It shows a lot of character. So, you know, you know, in my world, the way it works, it's an old hardcore DIY thing. You know, if you want somebody's support, get the fuck out and support them.
Yes, and as you always say, Drew, do good things, and good things will come to you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right,
Drew, this has been we had an absolute blast, man. We could go on and on and on, but I respect everybody's time. You know, so
that was an hour and a half, huh?
Yeah. So again, thanks so much, Drew. I want to give you the floor real quick. Just go ahead and promote your upcoming shows. I have them all queued up here.
Sure. Well, thanks everybody for the support. Check out my show, The New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. It's on YouTube. A lot of music people and artists and this and that. Check out my films that are all on Amazon. Who the fuck is that guy? The Fabulous Journey of Michael Alago. The New York Hardcore Chronicles Films. XXX, All Ages XX. The Boston Hardcore Film. Just go in there, punch in Drew Stone. You know, it'll come up. Thanks for supporting my band. You know, Incendairy Device. We have a record coming out on Bridge 9 Records in a couple of months. And, you know, that's it. You know, just thanks so much for letting me live my dream as an independent filmmaker, as a musician, as an author, and much more. So thanks a lot, everybody. I appreciate it.
Yep, and check out these upcoming shows. Vic Bondi, Evo, Don Capro to talk Scorsese films, Dave Tree. Go to New York Hardcore Chronicles. Also, he's got a Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. Links are in the description, people. Thank you so much.
And thanks to everybody in the chat room.
Yes.
You
guys were wonderful.
Time to watch the show and typing things out and keeping us engaged. So that means a lot. I appreciate it.
All right, Joe, go ahead. Plug in social media for NerdCage, man.
All right, if you want to get us on Twitter or Instagram, both handles are at @nerd_cage. Our link to our Discord is in the description. Become a member there as well. And our Facebook discussion group that is NerdCage Nation. We love everything you guys put up there. No spoilers, no politics, and for God's sakes, keep it civil.
Yes, absolutely. This has been a real treat having Drew Stone talk movies and music with us. I mean, we cannot wait to have him back on. Again, I'm just going to say one last time.
We'll come back and we'll do sports next time.
Oh, fuck yeah. Let's do it. Let's fucking do it. Let's do it. And we also have some sports people that we work with, too, in the YouTube community. So, yeah, that could be a lot of fun. Also, guys, just a quick reminder. Check out the New York Hardcore Chronicles film and the Who the Fuck Is That Guy, the Michael Alago story. The link is in the description for those movies. I'm going to play those trailers on our way out the door, guys. So stick around for these awesome trailers. And again,
Good night, Syracuse. Good night, Syracuse, New York, wherever you are.
Yes. So we please ask you to like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, and spread that shit like syphilis to the USA from yours truly, Syracuse, New York, Manhattan, New York City, to all of our friends around the world at NerdCageLIVE and Stone Films NYC. As always, enjoy life, stay safe, eat your vegetables, do your push-ups, go to the gym. And good night.
Good night.
And stick around for our awesome trailers and promos, guys.
This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Film.
This is not the history of New York hardcore.
This film details the New York hardcore scene for what it was,
what it is,
and what it will forever be.
One of the most vital and influential music scenes to ever exist.
Its impact is felt worldwide, and its legacy continues on.
long after many other cities' hardcore scenes have died off.
New York hardcore is never ending. Forever and always, New York hardcore will never die. New York hardcore will never die.
New York hardcore will never die. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Film.
I was a gay record executive. Keep in mind, I love heavy metal. I love the noise. I love the sweat. I love when I go to concerts, it's 99% guys there.
You know, Michael Alago was an outsider in a mainstream kind of environment, and we always considered ourselves to be outsiders in a sort of potentially, you know, mainstream environment. You could argue that we were perfect for each other, you know?
We were part of this worldwide new music thing that was happening. It was coming from England, it was coming from New York, it was coming from Australia. It was exciting.
He was out to make it in the music business, and you knew it. As cute and as sweet and as friendly and as enthusiastic as he was, he was also pretty seriously aggressive.
Because when you're young and you're in a rock band and you go on the road for the first time,
The cult classic indie movie that's taking the world by storm finally gets its USA debut. Stone Films NYC and the New York Hardcore Podcast proudly presents Dick Dynamite 1944. Featuring members of the Exploit, Biohazard, Gnostic Fright, Sleaford Mods, and many more. Vinny Stigma and Mike Gallo, Log Dahlia, Lars Fredrickson, Waddy Bucket, Billy Grazia Day, Nick Oliveri, Dick Valentine as Commander Eagles Kearney, Joey Z, and many more. Hosted by Bruce Stone, including a Q&A with director Robbie Steve Davidson, as well as special cast member guests. For one night only at the Nighthawk Cinema in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, New York. You'll explode when you see Dick Dynamite.
NerdCage Live and gaming are a perfect match.
Shoot the J, Joe. Okay. Shoot it!
All right. Over on NerdCage Live on Twitch, Jay and Joe go live.
Call me Bazooka Joe.
It's all about you.
Kaboom! Playing both old school and new school games every Tuesday night. Ooh, what a sight!
Jay, stop looking at her face and run.
But she's so beautiful.
So be sure to follow NerdCage Live on Twitch.
Run for your life, Joe. Run for your life, Joe.
Running.
Run faster. Oh no, Joe. The galaxy's doomed because of you.
To scratch your gaming itch.
Oh, nice kick, Joe.
Thank you.
Yo, that's diabolical. Wait. Yo!
That's twitch.tv/NerdCageLive. Ooh, trying to get out of the NerdCage, are ya? Well, before you go, hit that subscribe button. And if you're really intrigued, ring that bell. Thank you for dropping by. Until next time, tell everyone you know about NerdCage Live!